Hi and welcome back. Today I will be showing you how to hand stitch on paper, and you will be needing 2 pieces of paper, a piece of cardboard, a crafting mat, a little bit of thread, a little needle that you like, and a piercing tool. I am going to start off by gluing my pieces of cardstock together, and I guess that you could hand stitch them together, but I find that it's a bit easier to glue them together first, don't you think? So I'm lining the paper up and I'm just gluing it there. Next I am going to grab my piece of cardboard and line it up with my paper, and then I am going to grab my crafting mat, if I am careful with my desk, which I am. And then I'm going to grab my piercing tool and I am going to punch holes. I guess you could use a needle, but I would say that a piercing tool is much nicer on the hand. So I'm going to make holes with about 8 of an inch apart, and you can use your ruler to mark out your line, or even mark out where you want to punch holes. Make sure to use a pencil if you do that, so you can erase it. I, on the other hand, is a bit on the lazy side, so I prefer to just freehand it because it is much quicker. I have done it the other way around, and I prefer to do it this way. Just like when I am drawing lines, I prefer to do it to punch the holes in a line towards me, as opposed to away from me or to the sides. I find that it's easier to make a straight line this way. And this is what it looks like when I have punched all the holes. And for the observant viewer, yes, the first couple of holes are a bit wonky, but that's just because I took a few photos in between shots that I will be posting on my blog, so you can find a tutorial there as well. Yep. Anyways, I'm going to show you 2 ways that you can hand stitch this. The first way I usually use when I make layouts, when I don't care too much how the back is going to look. It's a bit quicker, but it's not as neat on the back. And the second one I'm going to use for like cards. It takes a bit more time, but it's very much neater on the back. Okay, so I'm going to start by placing my needle and bringing it up in the second hole, and I'm going to grab the tail of the thread with my finger and securing it before going down in the first hole. And make sure not to get stuck with the thread. Yeah, that happens to me all the time, especially when the thread is so long in the beginning. Anyways, I am going down in the third hole, and I am going to go back up in the second hole. And as you are going to be able to see in just a couple of minutes, this gives a bit longer stitches on the back, but on the front it's going to look fine. And when you have gone all the way down, you are going to be finished, which is nice. So, as I've said, when I'm making layouts, I prefer to use this method. I think you might begin to see the pattern here, how I am making the stitches. Now I'm going to go up through the fourth hole, and I'm going to go down in the third, and you are also beginning to see what I mean by long stitches on the back. So I'm going to show you the second way, and here I'm going up through the first hole, and yet again I am securing the tail with my finger, and I'm going down in the second hole, and I'm going up in the third, and yet again I'm stuck, and I am going to go down in the fourth hole and up in the fifth hole. As you can see, when I have gone all the way down, I won't be finished, which is a shame, but as you also can see, the front and the back looks the same, which means it's going to be kick-ass for a card like this. Okay, as you can see, I have only 2 more holes to stitch, so I'm going to go up in the first of these 2. And then I am going to go back down in the last hole. And now I am also going to go back up in the first hole that I stitched this time around. So I'm going back in this hole, and what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to fill out the empty spaces. So back up here and turn the paper, and as you can see, it's looking very neat, both front and back. And this is what it looks like when it's finished. It's a bit wonky and unperfect, but you know, I think it looks like it's made with a lot of love, and I think it's supposed to show that you've handmade it. So if I would have made a layout of this, I would probably secure the ends with a bit of washi so it lays flat on the paper. But this time around I'm just going to leave the ends as is, both because I don't want a piece of washi tape there and because I kind of like the look of it. And I thought that I would share with you the rest of the process as well. This is going to be a Valentine's card, as it's Valentine's week this week. And I'm starting off with putting a bit of white paint on there. And I'm just going to dab it around with my fingers, because that's how I work. And I actually had a bit too much paint. Surprise! So I'm trying to scrape it off with my fingers and also trying to make the edges a bit more unperfect, I guess. And this is what my fingers looks like. I'm just going to grab a baby wipe and, you know, clean them off a bit before grabbing my heat embossing gun tool, what it's called. I'm lazy. I don't have time to wait for paint to dry because that's boring, so I am using that to make the paint dry faster, and because it looks cool, right? It makes me look cool, I think so. And I'm feeling the paint so it's all dried up, and I think it's good to go. So I'm gonna go grab one of my die cuts from the Coco Daisy planner kit, and this one says, "Hey baby, be mine." I thought that was perfect. And as you can see, I have a cute little bowl, and it's also new. I found it at our supermarket for like $2 or so, and I thought it was so cute. I love to put my die cuts in cute little containers. And I have grabbed a little die cut that says "My Funny Valentine," but I end up using this XOXOXO with little hearts on it. I think they are adorable. I love when it's like watercolory and stuff. And I also want to back it up with some washi tape. and I am grabbing one of my go-tos, but I think it's a bit too thin. So I'm grabbing another favorite of mine. It's got gold dots and it's a bit wider, and I think it looks perfect, don't you? So I'm just going to pop that underneath my little die cut, and now it's just a matter of gluing stuff down actually. Um, I'm going to use liquid glue because I think that's easier when you are gluing down die cuts. For the interested viewer, there is also a blog post on how to stitch on paper, so I am going to leave the link to that down in the description box, so just click on that if you want to read more. The card is basically done. I'm just going to glue down a bit more stuff, and when the video is finished I'm going to make a little note on the back, but that's private, so you will not get to see that. I'm sorry, you guys. And to finish off the card, I'm going to use one of the tab stickers from the planner kit that says Happy Valentine's. I thought that was a perfect way to finish off the card. And I kind of like this card too. It's an easy layout and it was very fun to make. Please let me know down in the comments if you have any fun Valentine's plans. I would love to read that. My work here is done for the day, and I hope I will see you guys in my next video.